Up, guys? So I just wanted to make a video real quick. It's kind of been on my mind a little bit, and I've been wanting to do a video for a long time, and I just thought, screw it, let's just do it. I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with depression, in the hopes that it can maybe help someone else. And also I think it helps me just to kind of get it out there and to be open about it. Um, but anyways, I guess starting from the beginning. So I grew up in a super religious family, super tight knit, super lucky being in the family that I grew up in. Very loving parents. They split up when I was younger, um, and it was hard to go through that. But apart from that, it was a very positive experience. Um, my parents could be strict at times. And I think kind of just being from a religious background, the solution to everything is always just kind of pray more, read more scriptures, go to church more, stuff like that. Um, and I think those are very good things. They taught me I think they're coping skills that a therapist would, that my therapist sees value in and encourages me to participate in. And so I'm really glad I was raised like that. Um, I think an easy misconception though is that those things can replace professional help. Um, and so, anyways, I'm 25 right now. I was diagnosed with depression about 6 months ago. And so before I knew I had depression, I just thought I was a piece of shit. I just thought I was lazy. Um, it was so hard for me to just get out of bed and just do life and to eat, stuff like that. And the first kind of major thing that happened in my life that helped me kind of take a step towards getting treatment and figuring out I have depression was I got a job. I had a friend who works at a psych ward, like a crisis center, behavioral health center, and basically we take people at their worst. They're not stable to be in society, and they want to hurt themselves or other people, or are in psychosis, and they can't take care of themselves for a temporary amount of time. And so my friend worked there for a long time, and he was trying to get me to work there for a while. I was doing construction and making decent money, so I never wanted to work there. But I had to quit my construction job because my wife and I, my wife at the time, is from Germany, and so we spent like 6 months in Germany, and so I had to quit my job, and then I kind of had time away, and I got to think about what I wanted to do, and I that kind of just came into my mind. I love working with people, and I love being around people and helping people out, and I've been through like drug problems, and which I'll get into in a different video, but I saw this as kind of an opportunity to help and to be a part of something that would be fulfilling for me, and that I would enjoy. So I started going there, and my first impression was it was just cool how open people were. Like, um, I got a job as a peer support, which the requirement is to be a recovering drug addict, and so just naturally the environment. I think probably 60% of the workers at that place are recovering drug addicts or have problems with mental health that they've been treating, and I was just amazed at how open people were, and people talk about their recovery and the drugs they've been on and all this stuff and their mental health issues, and they're meeting with their therapist yesterday. And I feel like being in construction, like, no one really cares about that stuff. Like, no one, I don't know, like, we never talk about that type of stuff. At least the jobs I was at, but it kind of started opening me up. Like, people started talking about their depression and how they treat it, and um, and kind of simultaneously, my wife, I don't know, just talking to her about it or something. I don't know why, but she brought up like she thinks I have depression, and so I just kind of brushed it off like, whatever, like, I don't know, whatever. And and then one day at work, I like looked up the symptoms, and like I had like everything, almost everything. Like I just went down the list, and it was like me, um, and so I told my wife, and we just kind of talked about it, and she she like suggested like why not see therapy, and then like soon after that I found out my work is providing or maybe they told me when I got hired, I can't remember, but basically they provide 5 free therapy sessions, and so I went, and it was awesome. Like it was super cool. um like when I was in there, I was like kind of just judging the therapist. I'm like, I don't like this about her. But like the way she helped me analyze my life, and kind of bring things out of me that I didn't know were there, and she also diagnosed me with depression there, and so I mean that was huge. And she said, hey, like this is what you have, and it's been going on for years. It's not like situational depression, which is something common that happens when something happens in your life, or you lose someone or something. And she said like, yeah, you have depression. And just hearing that was kind of weird, but at the same time kind of like freeing. Like it felt different than I thought. Like my thought at that moment was, am I not a piece of shit? Like, am I not just lazy? And I started to realize like I'm not a bad person. I was just sick, and that was huge in my life. That was actually that's probably the biggest thing in this whole process, that changed my outlook on life and the way I think about things. Um, but at the same time, it motivated me because it's like, okay, there's a problem, and now I can work towards it. Before it's just, how could I fix that I'm just a piece of shit as a person? Like, I don't know. It's like, how do you fix that? How do you change that? I'd have to be a different person, but now I realize I can like work towards something, and there's a sickness, and there's treatments for it, and there's things I can do. And so from then on, my therapy sessions were awesome. Like I started getting things out of it, and I was trying the things that she was suggesting to me, and it was helping. And I mean, the symptoms still affected my life like crazy, and I felt good with just therapy because I was seeing huge differences, and to me it was better than where I was. But my therapist was still seeing symptoms, like major symptoms of depression, and so she suggested I see a psychiatrist, and see what they suggest. And so I went, and saw a psychiatrist, and started they put me on Zoloft. It's antidepressant. It's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, and I was really scared to take those because I've heard like horror stories about them. But basically, long story short, I did a whole bunch of research on it, and prayed about it, and put a lot of thought into it, and I ended up going with it. Um, I went to my dad and kind of got his blessing and stuff, and went to my mom and got her blessing, and they were super supportive. And my dad was a little more weary of them, and which was good to get that balance, because it made me think more about them, and learn more about them, and stuff like that. And ever since I've been taking them, man, like 95% of my symptoms are gone. It's crazy. I get out of bed, I eat, I'm organized, um, and I don't know. I just feel so much better. I feel, I feel things like, and that's one thing. Like I've been through stuff. Things haven't been perfect since then. Like my wife left me a month ago, and it's really hard. It's super hard. And a beautiful thing was I felt it. I felt sad. I felt emotion, and for so long, like I felt like my depression just, I'm sure it's different for different people, but for me, I didn't feel anything. Like it wasn't sad. It was like despair from not feeling anything, but it wasn't like sadness. It was just nothing, is nothing and despair. And when my wife left me, and even before that, like I started feeling sad and happy and these emotions, and even negative emotions, like they're beautiful. They're a beautiful thing, and it's beautiful to experience them. And I feel like they allow happiness to happen. Um and I don't know, I'm just very grateful for um the things I've learned, and for being in a better state mentally. And people ask how I'm doing, and I'm honest with them, like, yeah, it sucks that my wife left me, and I'm sad. And and I don't want it to seem like she left me because of depression. Like, we had our differences and grew apart, and she has her reasons and stuff like that. But if this would have happened to me 6 months ago, like, I I don't know how I would have handled it, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I feel like I just would have deteriorated, but I don't know. I feel like being in the state I have been, I've taken control of my life. I got an apartment on my own. I'm learning to be organized, and to be a steward of my own life. And I'm hopeful for the future and excited. And I hope, I don't know, I hope whoever's watching this video, that if you're going through something, that you can, uh, you know, get help, and do what you can. I know a lot of times depression is hard, because to get help for depression, it takes action, and a lot of times depression is the very thing that limits our ability to take action. And for me, um, I couldn't have just straight up gone to a therapist. I needed steps, and it took years, like, of knowing something was up, to like getting treatment. And the advice I would give is, if you don't have the strength to go to the therapist or go to the psychiatrist tomorrow, do what you can when you can. If you can tell your brother, tell your wife, tell your husband that you're going through something, if that's all you can do, that's good. Do it. If you can't even do that, maybe look up the symptoms, learn about it. Look up videos of people who are going through something similar. Do what you can when you can, and eventually you'll build up strength to get help that you need, that will really make a difference in your life. And the second piece of advice is, and it goes with the first, is, if you can't do anything, if all you can do is understand that you're not a bad person, but that you're just sick, that you're going through stuff, then that's amazing. That's a huge step. Like, know that just because you're going through shit does not mean that you're a bad person, that you're a piece of shit, that you're um, useless, that you're lazy. A lot of those things are symptoms of a sickness, of struggles of life. And so, just please stay strong, and get help, and reach out to me if you're watching this. I mean, I don't think a lot of people will watch this, but if you're watching this, reach out to me. Reach out to me. I'll message you back. I'll be there for you. Um, but anyways, I just wanted to share that, and it's just some stuff on my mind. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.